Because you guys asked for it and because I care so dang much, on today's episode of Weekend Wankshop, we're going to be taking a look at that crazy hybrid picked intro riff from Quintessence by Mastodon. Well, hey there kids, and welcome to this week's installment of Weekend Wankshop. Here's your best buddy, Uncle Ben. I've been getting requests from you guys for a really long time to talk about the crazy hybrid picked intro of Quintessence by Mastodon. Doesn't seem like there's a lot of reliable tabs or lessons on this online as it is. And you guys know I love picking through this Mastodon stuff, so I just spent a little bit of time going through the track extremely carefully and watching a bunch of live videos and stuff to deliver what I think is a completely accurate performance of how to play this sick riff. But before we start digging into the Masta fun, let's hear it again at step Brent speed. And of course, you guys can find a full tab for this week's lesson over on my Instagram page over at Ben Eller Guitars. Be sure to find the tab for this week's lick, give me a follow, and then upload a video of yourself shredding through it along with the hashtag Weekend Wankshop. Okay, first things first, like so many other Mastodon songs, this is tuned down one whole step. So you want to tune your guitar to D, G, C, F, A, D. Or as I like to call it, sad but tuning. On a Strat scale guitar, like this Ibanez RG520 here, I like to use just regular 10 through 46 set. If you're playing a Gibson scale guitar, you might want to try like 10.5s or 11s. This riff is a great example of everything that Mastodon does to make their stuff tick. It features a lot of their trademark isms, like the hybrid picking stuff, the use of open strings in their riffs, and especially the fact that this is essentially just one riff played in two different positions on the neck. This is something Mastodon does a lot with their riffs. And especially, you know, the way that they retain the same open strings and stuff, no matter what position that they're in, can lead to some really unpredictable sounds. It makes their stuff hard to transcribe, too. Okay, if you want to play this like Brent, you can use hybrid picking with your middle finger and your pick, like what I'll be doing in the video. But if you're not into that, you can play it all with your pick, and it's not going to really give you too much trouble. Bill does most everything just with a pick. He doesn't hybrid pick much stuff either, so you can do it either way. Now, I'm going to break this first lick here into two separate sections to make it a little bit easier to learn. Let's learn the first section here. It sounds like this. One more time. Now what I'm doing here is I'm starting off with the 13th high E. It's going to be a hybrid picked note. The 10th fret G. Then I'm going to play the open high E. Again, hybrid picked. And I have these three notes. Next, play the G on 9 and hammer it to 10. So that's. Next, play the open B, hammering to 9. Again, this is a hybrid picked note. So now you have this. And then what you're going to play is the 10th fret on the G again. That's the first section. Now the second section sounds like this. I'm playing the 12 on the B, 10 on the G, open B, and again, all those B string notes are hybrid picked, I forgot to say that. Play the 12 on the D, 10 G, open B, hammering to 12, again hybrid picked, and then the 10 on the G again. That's how that last lick sounds. So the entire second section should sound like this. I'll play that again. Notice how whenever I start that, I'm kind of in the 9th position where my first finger is located at the 9th fret from the first section of this lick. Then I'm gonna jump up a fret right here. That way I can play that lick with my 3rd and 1st fingers, like they do. So you put that together and you end up with this. 2nd section. Play it again here, 1st section. 2nd section. And they basically just play that 2 times in a row. Before they move it to the next position here. Now what I want you to be really careful about is that you don't allow too much ringing between these notes. In other words, if you just look at this on tab, you might end up playing something like this. You know, with a lot of these notes really ringing into each other. I advise you to be pretty, light-handed here with your fretting hand. And remember that as soon as you pick the next note, release the current note. You know what I mean? Like how right there, I didn't continue holding this and let those ring out together. I let the pressure off this finger right when I hit that E string right there, so keep that in mind. Now the next thing that we're going to do is to play that exact same riff, only move down lower on the neck. So instead of starting off on 13 and 10, I'm going to be starting off here on 8 and 5. The shape of the riff, the open strings, the fingerings, where the hybrid picking goes, nothing changes. It's exactly the same riff, just located in this position instead. So let's break this down into 2 separate halves like we did that first one. So here's the first section here. So I'm playing the 8 on the E, hybrid, 5 on the G, open E, hybrid. Then I'm going to play the 4 on the G, hammering 5. And then that's going to be my open B, hammering to 4, hybrid picked, and the 5 on the G. So that's the whole first half of this riff. Again, it's exactly like this. And then the second half sounds like that. I'm playing the 7 on the B, 5 G, open B, and then I'm going to play 7 D, 5 G, open B, hammering to 7, and then the 5 on the G again. So it's, and that's the entire second half of the riff. So again, that just gets played through 2 times. Before you move it back up to 13 and 10. I want to tell you guys one more thing about keeping this sounding good and clean, because any distorted riff that uses open strings and is played fast can easily just sound like a wall of shit if you're not careful about keeping those strings muted out when they should be. So let's take, for example, the very first lick here, right? Sounds nice and clean, right? And if you're not careful though, that open high E string that you hit right there can still be ringing whenever you do the 9 to 10 hammer on the G. You get that really dissonant sound right there because those notes are a half step apart from each other and it can get really nasty sounding, right? Like, one of the first things your guitar teacher probably told you is to play on your fingertips, right? Arch up the fingers, play on the tips. And sometimes it's good advice, but sometimes it's not. See, basically whenever you play this stuff, you want to try to keep a pretty flat first finger. So in other words, like if I'm playing with my first finger arched up, okay, I can get that nasty ring going on, right? But watch, if I play more on my finger print, playing on the finger print rather than playing on the fingertip with my first finger, then the cool thing is whenever I go from hitting that high E to playing that 9 on the G to do the hammer on, well, if I'm playing with my finger kind of flat like that, the soft tissue on the bottom of my finger here mutes out that high E string as soon as I fret the G. It's kind of like an added bonus. I'm fretting the note and I'm killing the high E string. You always got to remember that. An open string will ring indefinitely until you tell it not to, whereas a fretted note stops whenever you let your finger off and that's it. So whenever you're playing riffs with open strings, be sure to stay really focused on keeping them sounding very clean and cutting them off whenever you need to, mainly by using that underside of your first finger to mute them out whenever you're playing the next note. So there you go, guys, another Masto classic down the tubes on Weekend Wankshop. Like I said, I really love getting into the guitar playing and figuring out what's going on with those riffs. So if there's any other tunes you guys would like to see covered here on the show, be sure to let me know in the comments below. I'm thinking about doing an entire breakdown of March of the Fire Answers theme. That's one of my all-time favorites. You guys can like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on Instagram at Ben Eller Guitars or over on Facebook at facebook.com/Uncle Ben Eller. Thank you guys so much for watching. Now be sure to get away from this damn computer and go play some guitar. Less clicking, more picking.